Hello everyone, welcome back to more Magic the Gathering Arena. We've it's the next day, I guess, compared to my last episode, and we can now see what all of the draft formats they're running for the near future are. There you can play Premier Draft Kaladesh, but I don't really know Kaladesh at all, and I don't want to spend a bunch of money on a timed draft where I'll just pick bad cards, so we're not doing that. I noticed there is Premier Zendikar Rising, which I don't think was there before. It was like we could play traditional, as I recall, but not Premier. So that's something I'd like to get at least a few games of in, because we were mostly winning more than three games, mostly, and I was mostly drafting reasonably quickly. I could have gone faster, but I was like going a bit slow on some of these picks to explain things. So I think I could handle a Premier draft. And then some other stuff that I don't really care about, traditional drafts and more Kaladesh. But there's also this quick draft Throne of Eldraine, which I think would be fun to play at least once before we try any Premier Zendikar. It would just be nice to get a break from Zendikar, I'm sure. I enjoy the, as I said in the last video? A video before that? I don't remember for sure. That has been fun for me getting to know a set, and that's still true. I would enjoy playing Premier, knowing that set better. But Throne of Eldraine is also a fun format. I've played some in this months ago since it was last featured, and I don't remember doing particularly well. But I also read like a couple of draft guides about like what you generally see in Throne of Eldraine, and I have some idea what I'm up against now. And I mean, it's fun anyway. So we'll do this. Yes, I would like to play the game. Oathsworn Knight, and that's exciting. It enters with 4 1/1 counters. It always attacks if it can. Interesting. And if it would be dealt damage, instead, if it would be dealt any amount of damage, prevent all of it and remove one of its 1/1 counters. I see. Interesting. So this one reason, I don't know. This creature looks okay. Okay. It's a 3-mana 4/4, right? That's pretty cool. Not only that, it's a 3-mana 4/4 that it's hard to kill. You kind of have to like chump block it with 1/1s for a while to get it to get weaker, and then you can finally kill it with like a 2/3 or something. And trading it for 2 1/1s is not exactly ideal. If your opponent has 2 1/1s and a 2/3, you kind of don't like this card, but they don't always have that, right? Maybe you can trade it for like a couple 2/2s and a. I mean, like, it trades with 3 2/2s, for example, which seems fine. The other reason this is exciting is that knights are a theme in a couple of color pairs. I think black, white, and black, red both enjoy knights, and so does red, white. I forget what kind of knights black likes. They mostly prefer like a large number of small knights, according to this draft guide. Okay, good to know. So what else is this? Okay, this is a blue 2-mana flash flyer that wants you to draw at least 2 cards a turn. This fits into the blue-red theme. Drawing at least 2 cards a turn is a blue-red thing in this format. And flying is a thing that blue does, unsurprisingly. Blue-white. There are 4 of these knights that are kind of hybrid costed, right? You can pay either black or green. Sorry, there aren't 4 knights. There are 10 of these hybrid cards that cost 4 mana, 1 for each color pair. The one for green black is Deathless Knight, and it has this theme: when you gain life, return it from the graveyard to your hand. That is another thing that happens a lot in Black. Black has a lot of ways to return cards from your graveyard to your hand, and Green has a lot of ways to gain life through food tokens, which I'm sure we'll see shortly. So this could be a good first pick. I think I would prefer this, honestly, over the Oathsworn Knight. But we'll look at the rest. Clockwork Servant. Adamant. Yeah, so there's a number of new keywords that you haven't seen if you've only watched my previous videos. Adamant is basically, it wants you to spend mana of the same color. Often it goes on, like, if it's a blue card that costs 4 and a blue, but it's like, if you spent at least 3 blue, then it's an even better. For artifacts, it's just 3 of any color. And it draws a card. I mean, it's a 3 mana 2/3 that draws a card if you draw it in the right circumstances, which is pretty good. Certainly if it always drew you a card, it would be a quite good card. Here, it's like a little bit weaker in the early game because you don't always have 3 of the same color yet. But you can draft playable one-color decks in this format. You shouldn't expect to do it all the time, but it can happen. Right, and so here's another one of the big mechanics. Is there's these things called adventures, which are creature cards that have instants or sorceries printed on them as well. Or are they all instants? I think there are sorcery adventures. Yeah, here's one. Okay. And the idea is, as it says here, you can cast its adventure side and treat it as like a spell. So this is a 2 mana adventure instant that taps 2 creatures. And if you cast the adventure side first, then it gets exiled, and you can cast the creature side from exile whenever you want. So you kind of get 2 uses out of the card. So adventure is like good value stuff. Tapping up to 2 creatures is often, not that great, but in white or white-blue, where you kind of want flyers, or maybe white-red, where you want knights and aggressive stuff, being able to tap some creatures to get in more damage is pretty cool. Didn't Say Please is a pretty good blue counter. It's 3 mana counter anything. So definitely a stronger counter spell than exists in Ikoria, at least at common. It also mills the opponent, which is a theme that blue-black often has, and again has here, or even maybe it's just blue. Blue-black has it as well. And there are cards that enjoy your opponent having many cards in the graveyard as well. So even if you don't win by milling, this is still a useful side effect. And someone's draft guide, or not draft guide, but their assessment of the set claims that it's not totally bizarre for games to get decked out. There's a lot of late game powerful static stuff, and so you kind of need a win condition. And if you don't have one, the game kind of just drags out to the end, and being able to have mill as a win condition is useful as well. Unexplained Vision, I believe, is a pretty good blue draw card. It draws 3, but if you had Adamant, then it scries 3 afterward, I think. I actually don't know. Does it? Let's look up the rules for this. 3 Adamant. I assume it comes after, right? Adamant. Have additional effects if you perform the instructions in order. You don't perform the Adamant instructions before it resolves or before any other effects printed above it. Okay. So you draw 3, and then you scry 3. So you don't get to choose what you draw, but you get to set up your next turn. So you can dig through up to 6 cards with this, which is pretty cool. For your whatever it is that wins you the game, your win condition, right? We have Festive Funeral, a black card that likes your graveyard to be full. Sure, it could be. I mean, this is going to remove big creatures pretty easily. I expect you'll often have a lot of stuff in your graveyard. Maybe, maybe not. Brimstone Trebuchet, It's an evasive thing. It can do a bit of damage, and it likes you to play knights. It's not like it. Obviously, I think we're first picking like the rare, or one of the uncommons, or maybe one of these blue things, but probably not. Like I think it's one of the two knights, to be honest. But let's just look through the cards. Ogre Errant. It's a 4-mana 3/4 knight that gives other knights menace. Sure, fits in red. Here's just like an adventure creature. It gives something. It's a combat trick that turns into a creature. This is a color fixer thing that turns into ramp. Okay, interesting. And what is this? An artifact equipment that's green. When it enters the battlefield, attach it to target non-human creature you control. That's right, non-human is a theme in some of these decks. Green, red, maybe? Yes, green-red is the non-humans theme. Okay. Oh, and there's one more. It's a 3-mana 1/5 with reach, so it helps green deal with flyers. Fine. Any of these are pretty okay. I do actually have like a carefully written, like someone wrote a like list of, you know, if you were just taking your absolute first pick in your first pack, like how would you rank cards? So I'm gonna do. Well, that's the situation I'm in right now, and when I'm drafting off camera, which I haven't done for a while, in a set that I'm unfamiliar with, I use this to judge like roughly how good cards are, and then assess also how well they fit into what I've drawn so far. So Oathsworn Knight is like a B card, he says. Fairy Vandal apparently is a bit worse. And it's also in the B tier, but a bit below. Okay. What else do we have? We have Deathless Knight, I assume is higher. Maybe? I don't know, I mean, B is pretty good. Okay, this is lower in the B tier. I don't think we want Clockwork Servant. Like, colors are pretty cool. So it seems like we could basically pick any one of these three, and they would be fine. Whereas something like, I assume Unexplained Vision is not that high. Yeah, it's like a C, or maybe C-. Okay. So, what colors, what do we want to go for? We sort of have our choice here. I like these 4-mana hybrid things. Green, black could be fun. This is a little bit less committal, though. We could end up mono black, or we could move into something else that likes knights, black red or black white. I'm not really sure. Fairy Vandal is fine. I think I'll take the Deathless Knight. It can be its own win condition, right? If you just have to like get enough food, and then you can just keep smacking them with 4/2s. As long as they don't find a creature with more than, as long as you can get rid of any creatures they have with 5 or more toughness, this can just kind of chip away at their board and eventually at their health. So I'll take it. Here's a blue Mirror Maid. It's an enchantment that just copies any other artifact or enchantment that is on the battlefield, whether you control it or your opponent does. Interesting. Blue-white, yeah, cares about enchantments as well. They have flyers and they care about enchantments. That's kind of their thing. Sir Alan, the Lion's Claw. It's a 5-mana 4/4 with first strike that also likes other creatures to attack. And it's a knight. Marleaf Pixie, okay. So it doesn't fit with our black-green. This is not the kind of card where, according to someone's draft guide, and I think it's probably true, You want to play this either in monocolor or in like the exactly 2 colors that it lists. If you play this in like black white, for example, you'll have a lot of trouble playing it or actually casting it. So if we take this, we're probably like not gonna play both of them, but it keeps open 2 possible win conditions. And I think this guy is probably pretty good, right? Yeah, he's like the top. He's near the top of the B tier, apparently. Marleaf Pixie is a pretty cool like blue-green ramp / flyer. I assume it's like probably not as good as... Yeah, it's like a C+. Okay. Yeah, here's another black card that likes knights. But I think I'll just take the Lion's Claw, and then we have options in a lot of different colors. And we can figure out where to go from there. So here's a card that has food tokens. As I was saying, green has a lot of them. Food tokens are artifacts. You can pay 2 to sack them and gain 3 life. And so it synergizes with being able to gain life. Or, yeah. Synergizes with cards that want you to gain life, like this. And there's also cards that synergize specifically with food. But we'll just take a 5 mana 4/4 with a powerful effect in white. See where we wind up. Oh, this is a good card, isn't it? Wandermare? White-green? Yeah, they like adventure, I believe, right? Yeah, white-green is all about having adventure cards. Okay. Probably don't want Claim the Firstborn, but it's like a finisher. Take away a creature from your opponent and then attack them with it. Here's the blue-white 4-mana hybrid thing. It wants you to have artifacts, and it's a flyer, so that's kind of like the 2 things blue-white does. Or Wandermare is like a green-white card that wants you to play cards that have adventure, as I said, and the way that it benefits you if you do that is it gets bigger every turn. Run away together. Yeah, that's adorable. Take 1 creature from each player and put them back in hand. You know, it's sort of removal. Memory Theft, I believe, is a totally fine card. It's a good way to take away someone's like recast something from graveyard ability or whatever. I read that Reaper of Night is also fine. Yeah, it's... I don't know. I wouldn't really want to pay 7 for it. But it is like... This guy claims that these games can run pretty long, and if they do, having a 7-mana card that prefers your opponent to have a small hand is pretty useful. Yeah, here's a red, like... This is like a draw engine in red, which I've drafted before, because remember, red-blue wants you to draw 2 cards per turn. But we're probably not playing it. Searing Barrage deals 5 damage to target creature, and if adamant is deal some to the controller as well. Whenever you cast a creature spell, it has an adventure. Right, okay, it likes you to play adventures as well. You can sacrifice food to make your opponent block to get better trades. Oh, cute. It's a sorcery that makes you like creatures that turn into food. Okay. But I think I want one of these two, Wandermare or the Owl. Let's see, is either one of those particularly better than the other according to like first pick? Wandermare is like a C+. And Arcanist's Owl is like a B. Okay. So we could combo either of those with our white card, and given that we could do either of those things, I don't know. Do we have anything currently that tells us to pick one or the other? Well, we don't have any adventures. And flyers are particularly happy to get extra pluses because they can't be blocked by nearly as many creatures. So they either get better trades or they get more face damage in. So I think I will take the Arcanist's Owl. And we're looking a little bit blue-white, but we'll see. Maybe mono-white. In fact, let's sideboard this already. I can bring it back if that turns out to be useful, but we want to be drafting sort of flexibly. That's why I'm okay with taking stuff from a number of different colors, right? You pick pick any like really great cards that you see, even if it means you won't be able to play something else you've got. And then whatever you've got the most of, you aim for those colors. Here's a oh. It's a blue-white thing that's uncommon that loves, like, these two specifically work great together. It's a 3-mana Vigilant Flyer that loves you to have artifacts and enchantments, and this is a 3/3 flyer that helps you draw artifacts and enchantments. They really are great together. What is this, Once and Future? I don't think we're picking it, but I'd like to know what it is. Return target card from your graveyard to your hand. Put up to one other target card from your graveyard on top of your library. Exile this spell. If at least 3 green mana was spent, instead return both cards to your hand and then exile this. Okay. So it's a way to replay stuff from your graveyard. Fine. Yeah, and everything below this is just not going to be good enough to draft over. None of the commons are going to beat a gold card that fits your colors exactly and fits into your theme. So I'm just going to take this without looking at anything else. I glanced at all of them. Okay, so here's the black-red knight. We don't want this. But what is the deal with this? It's a 2/3 with Menace. I thought it was dealing only 2 damage to target like player for some reason, but no, it can remove stuff. So this likes you to have a lot of small creatures, and it can be really awkward to block, I think, because you have to block it with 2 things, and then if like that is a good block, then they can remove one of the blockers for it and trade well with the first one or whatever. So it seems pretty cool. But we have reasons to go in another direction. Here's the red-green signpost uncommon about non-human creatures. It makes every non-human you play stronger. Fortifying Provisions. Your creatures are a bit stronger and you get a food token. Okay, doesn't seem that synergistic with the deck. Silverflame Squire is an instant combat trick that's also a 2/1. Right? The best way you could possibly use this in general would be like your opponent's attacking, the thing you want to block with is tapped, you unblock it, and then it's big enough to survive blocking. You untap it, it's big enough to survive blocking. That would be ideal, right? But it's also fine just as like a combat trick in general, and I'm sure there are going to be a couple of use cases where untapping could be important for reasons other than immediately blocking. Didn't say please? That's kind of nice. It's a good counterspell in our colors. But here, 6 mana? Wow. Here is a card that likes you to have artifacts and enchantments. So that's maybe better than Didn't Say Please. Roving Keep, a 7 mana thing. You have to pay 7 to attack with it. But if you do, it gets trample. It's a 7/7 with trample. Interesting. We don't want it, but... Okay. Well, so I think it's definitely down to these two. They both seem okay. I think Didn't Say Please is probably rated higher as like a first pick thing than Moonlit Scavengers, because it works in any blue, whereas this is mostly like a blue-white thing. Let's see. It says Moonlit Scavengers is like a D+ as a first pick, and didn't say Please is a D. Oh, I was wrong. Okay. Well, cool. That gives me an excuse to pick this because I already have the right color sword as well. Yep. And we're making a nice flat curve. I've got a 3, a 4, a 5, and a 6. All I need is like a 7, an 8, a 9, a 10, and so on, and we'll be set. Just beautiful curve all game long. A 2-mana 3/1 that's also return target permanent you control to its owner's hand. So it's kind of... I mean, it could be a way to keep a key creature alive when opponent is about to kill it. But I suspect more often it will be about rescuing a creature that's been hit with something like pacifism. That's an enchantment stopping it from attacking, like trapped in the tower or whatever. So it could be totally fine. Into the Story. A 7-mana draw 4 that wants your opponent to have been milled. Probably not amazing in blue-white because we won't be milling them like we would in blue-black, but maybe. Outflank. Damage to target attacking or blocking creature equal to the number of creatures you control. I think this is pretty sensible, decent removal. Scalding Cauldron is kind of a slow removal. You play it once and later you kill something. Unexplained Vision, though. Right? Like, being able to search for a particular card seems pretty cool. I prefer it over Into the Story. It doesn't draw as much. But, like, probably this is going to cost us 7, not 4, most of the time. I mean, we could just take Shepherd of the Flock, I guess, and like try to curve out a bit. Do we have anything that really loves you to play creatures again? Yeah, we have a couple of enter the battlefield effects, I guess. And this is just like, it's nice to have a 2-drop, right? Look at that curve. It's beautiful. Shambling Suit. It's an uncommon artifact creature with power equal to the number of artifacts and enchantments you control. Interesting. Well, so far we have 0. This would be 1. But we are playing blue-white, and blue-white likes artifacts and enchantments, so hopefully we would get more. Here's this knight. It's fine. Fairy Guidemother is... It's nice to have. It's a nice 1-drop that flies. I would happily put this in most white decks, and it's also got a sorcery to let you evade by giving a creature flying for a turn. It's not a combat trick because it's a sorcery, right? But it's still useful. Untap target artifact or creature you control, but it's an artifact itself, so playable maybe. Creatures you control gain haste until end of turn. Sure, but like, meh. I think Shambling Suit is probably fine. It could be like a 3-mana... I don't know. Is it fine, though? How many... Well, hopefully a lot, right? It could be like a 3-mana 4/3. Some non-0% of the time. And also, it like will make some of our other creatures better. Or other spells in general, right? This will be better if we only have 1 enchantment. Hey, at least... If this is a 1/3, then at least it's activating cards like Moonlit Scavengers. And we can draw it with Arcanist's Owl. And Shine Chaser likes it, right? So I think we'll take it. It's, I don't know, just how bad is this as a first pick? I assume pretty bad. D+, yeah. Whereas like Guidemother... is like a C, or maybe C minus apparently. Looks like about a C. So knowing nothing else about our deck, we would prefer Fairy Guide Mother. I guess, I don't know. We've already got 2 artifact synergies. 3, right? Oh, and this is also an artifact, of course. That makes sense. I'm not sure. It's tough to know whether to draft like a slightly worse card that synergizes with what you've got, or to draft a slightly better card with no synergies. I don't think we want the Ardenvale Paladin. It's fine. I've definitely been happy to have this in decks before, but I don't really want it in white-blue that badly. I think I'll try the Shambling Suit. What's the worst that could happen? Shining Armor. Attach it to target knight you control. We're not going to have very many of those, I don't think. I have 1. But it's a flash equipment, which is pretty cool. You can use it as like a combat trick, kind of. And it's an artifact. Here's Opt, a kind of classic blue kind of, scry and draw. It doesn't do much, but it's something. Oh yeah, that's right. There's also these lands that are they enter the battlefield tapped unless you have 3 or more of the basic lands of that color. And so like if you play it too early, it's worse than a forest, and if you play it late enough, it's better than a forest, right? It comes in untapped and it has some other bonus. I believe they all have that effect. Something good happens when you play it untapped. I don't think this is that great, but maybe it is. Giving a creature +0, +2, and vigilance would be nice, I guess. But the flash ability, and it's like if you can't actually attach this to a knight, it's pretty bad. Now, okay, it must be said, attaching it to this guy would be great. Because having a vigilant 4/4 first strike is pretty cool. 4/6 first strike. But, I don't know. I think much of the time this will not pull its weight, and like one of these 2 cards would be better. And Opt to just like get to better spells, or a 2/2 to just, a 2/1 to just kind of like curve out a bit. I think I'll take the Squire. Run away together is not very good, is it? I mean, I guess there is something to be said for. It's actually not terrible. Something to be said. It feels kind of like an equal effect. You each return a creature, but you can choose to return like their big creature that's been buffed or whatever, and your small creature with an enters the battlefield effect, perhaps. So that's an interesting thought. Oh, that's right. And also, if you return a creature that has an enchantment, then once it not an enchantment, an adventure, then you can play it for the adventure again, and then for the creature again. So this is actually kind of cool. All right, I'll take it. Unexplained Vision is fine, and the only card in my colors, so I'll take it. None of these are any good. Let's take the colorless card that you might conceivably want, but I surely won't. It is an artifact, right? We like artifacts. Oh man. There must be a lot of players playing in like white-blue in this pseudo draft. This kind of stinks. Maybe I should have... I don't know. I don't think I should have changed my mind. I got a lot of good cards. at first. Okay, anyway, we'll take Memory Theft. Bartered Cow is okay. It's an alright 4-drop. And food is an artifact, so there's something there. But I probably would prefer not to play this if possible. Fortifying Provisions. Okay. I mean, it's an enchantment. And it makes your creatures a bit tougher. And it makes an artifact. So that's kind of cool. I think it's a pretty bad card, though. Yeah, it's ranked as, like, awful. So we probably don't want it, but I think we would prefer it to Roving Keep, right? I guess I'll check. Yeah, Roving Keep also in the awful tier. Okay. Well, we'll take this then. Lash of Thorns. Okay. Black combat trick. Giant Killer. Ooh. It's a 1-mana, well, a 3-mana removal thing. That's also a 1-mana kind of like neutralize something. That's probably pretty good. It's cute that it's labeled Giant Killer because there are a number of creatures in this set that are giants. I don't know if there's one in every set, every color. I'm pretty sure there's one in at least white and green. I don't remember about the other colors. It would make sense actually for them to be in white and green because they're adventure cards that are then like just very large creatures. Do we see any of them here? No, but like, what does the Beanstalk Giant do again? It's an adventure for 3 mana in green. That searches your library for a basic land, put it onto battlefield, and then shuffle your library, so it's like ramp. And then it's a 7-mana creature with power and toughness equal to the number of lands you control. So it can be like huge. What is this called? Oh, Giant Killer. I assume it's rated like reasonably high. Yeah, it's actually rated as like excellent. And there's nothing else great here. And it fits in my colors. So big removal that can also help you like get in some damage, and it's a 1-mana 1/2 even, so sure. Another of these guys. Now, this is the first time we've had like legendary creatures come up where the legendary rule matters. If you're not familiar with Magic, the legendary rule is you can't have 2 different legendary creatures with the same tag in play, which I think they generally make sure that... Actually, I don't remember how it works. 2 legendary creatures with the same name? That sounds right. So you can't have 2 of these in play, even if you draft. You can have them in your deck, but they can't both be in play. Frogify. Ooh, yeah. This might actually be better. I mean, Sir Alan the Lion's Claw is good. I forget exactly how good, like a B, right? And Frogify is like a C. But it's an enchantment that's also removal. On the other hand, it's not necessarily the best removal because if opponent has, let's say, I don't know, a 3/3 that's been enchanted with +2/+2, and you Frogify it, you don't get a 1/1, you get a 3/3 because it's still been enchanted with +2/+2. So it's okay, but it doesn't always do as much as you would hope. I think we just take another one of these guys. Resolute Rider, another white, another one of these 2-color knights. This one can gain either lifelink or indestructible, which is cool. Letting you continue to... If you have like 5 mana you can't spend, you can just keep smorking with this guy to gain health, which is something. But even, you know, Even if you only have a little mana, you can use this to threaten to remove enemy creatures, and then if they don't block, you gain lifelink or whatever. Knight of the Keep. It's a 3 mana, 3/2. Sure. Oh, Trapped in the Tower. How did I miss this? Yeah, enchant creature without flying. It can't attack or block. So it's a 2 mana pacify that, yeah, I'll take it. That can only hit non-flying creatures, which is fine. I think it's pretty good as commons go, right? Where is the? I'm like having trouble understanding. The draft guide is not really designed to be searched through. It's kind of ugly. But he rates this card as a B and notes that it's even better in a blue-white deck, which is, you know, about right. I picked it without needing his advice. I agree, it's clearly good in this deck, but it's nice to be a little like what's the word I'm thinking of? To be when someone verifies a thing that you have, to be reinforced. Can't think of the word. Oh well. Queen of Ice. It's a 3 mana, 2/3 that it's a lot like Cleric of Chill Depths from Zendikar. It like taps enemy stuff and tries to stop it from untapping. Sure. Jousting Dummy. Yeah, it's a pretty mediocre artifact creature. We like artifacts, but probably not enough to play this. Tall as a Beanstalk. Yeah, it gets +3/+3 and becomes a giant. Cute. Yeah, the theme, in case you hadn't noticed, of this set is fairy tales. So, I think we'll take a Queen of Ice. I think she's reasonably playable. We might end up cutting her, but who knows? Shepherd of the Flock and Lonesome Unicorn. So this is like a 2/2 with Vigilance and a 3/3 with Vigilance. And they're knights, which is okay. Oh, I believe True Love's Kiss is actually good. Yeah. It draws a card. And also there are some really strong artifacts and enchantments that you would love to get rid of. And so exiling them is pretty good, I think. I'm curious, I have like 2 different guides on like how to play, written by like 2 different people on Channel Fireball. And I wonder if they agree. See, this guy says True Love's Kiss is like a D. Pretty bad card. And the other guy is like, well, actually, games can often go pretty long, and there's like build-arounds that really ruin your life, that just stay on the board forever, and wouldn't it be nice to have a True Love's Kiss to get rid of them? So good players don't agree, which is fine. I think I will take it. Like it draws a card. Like what? Let's read what he says about True Love's Kiss, by the way. As a way to answer build-around cards. These are some of the only ways to contend with the cycle of mythic rare artifacts, as well as things like Improbable Alliance, which is like a blue-red artifact. It's like a big blue-red enabler that allows you to draw 2 cards and also helps you draw 2 cards. And Trail of Crumbs is like a green enchantment that lets you like draw cards whenever you sacrifice food. So these are big value engines that there's not a lot of ways to get rid of. And True Love's Kiss can take care of those. And it also like draws you a card. It's pretty expensive, but it's a way to, if you make it into the late game and nobody has a clear way to win, maybe your opponent plays a card that's like, here's a clear way to win, you could remove it. Something to think about, though, is like, how are we doing in those matchups? Do we have enough flyers that we don't need something like this? Should we just take another card that will help us live long enough? I think no, right? We only have like 2 flyers. And they're fine. But it's not like we're going to kill the opponent quickly with them, right? You know, we could take Lonesome Unicorn, but we already have several 5s. And this is a 5 and a 3, and it would be cool to like have this someday, where is that card? Run away together with something, right? And get out more of the 2/2 vigilant creatures, but I don't really care that much about 2/2 white vigilant knights. What a weird card. 4 mana artifact, 2/4 with vigilance, and it like can turn 2 mana into 1 mana to fix colors for you. We certainly don't want it. Shepherd of the Flock. Return target permanent you control. Yeah, I'll just take another Shepherd. Why not? Cauldron's Gift. It's an adamant thing that mills your own deck. And then takes a card from your graveyard and puts it onto the battlefield with +1/+1. Cool. Giant Opportunity. Here's the Beanstalk Seeds, right? You may sacrifice 2 foods. If you do, create a 7/7. Otherwise, create 3 food. That's nice. Kind of cool. Another True Love's Kiss? Or what is Wishful Merfolk? Oh, that's cute. This is, oh my gosh, what's the name of the mermaid thing with Ariel in it? Little Mermaid, the Little Mermaid. This is Ariel, right? She becomes a human until end of turn and can walk on her own 2 feet to attack. Kind of cute, right? It's like a 2 mana 3/2 that's kind of meh. Or we could take Mystic Sanctuary. So this is this is the blue like fancy land. What's the deal with it? When it enters the battlefield untapped, you can put an instant or sorcery from the graveyard on top of your library. I mean, it's okay. It would be like a really great endgame play with Unexplained Vision, I guess. We could take another True Love's Kiss, but 1 and 1 might well be enough. I think this is probably fine. If you draw it early enough, you can just play it tapped on like turn 1 and it's no big deal. It's just like a worse island, but you don't need a normal island, and worse is fine. And if you draw it later, it can really do something pretty impactful. Right, give us back a thing that draws a bunch, or like a True Love's Kiss to remove a second giant card. Oh, we didn't actually take True Love's Kiss, did we? Whoops. What did we take? Another Shepherd, I think? Yeah. So what? Instants or sorceries? So we have Runaway together. And we have Unexplained Vision. So we only have 2 right now. So maybe not so great, huh? But we could get more later. I think it's between these 2. I don't know, Corridor Monitor, it's an artifact, I guess. And a 2 mana card. I have 2 2-drops. I wouldn't mind having more. But I also kind of want to make sure I have some late game stuff. Am I like surviving to the late game currently? I don't know. How many artifacts and enchantments do I have? 3? Ooh. Alright, let's take it. It will empower my like Shine Chaser and Arcanist's Owl and my other artifact synergy cards, which currently is just this one. And it will also help me survive to the late game. Like a 4 toughness, card is just kind of nice for blue. You can defend against aggro long enough to live to your kind of bigger stuff. There's another Unicorn. Seems better than anything else. A 2 mana 2/1 with first strike is fine, but I think I'd rather have something a bit heavier. Flutterfox, there you go. This works great in this deck. It's a 2/2 that for 2, which can fly if you're playing an artifact or enchantment heavy deck. Another Flutterfox? Sign me up. So now I'm starting to be glad I took Corridor Monitor. Prophet of the Peak, 6 mana, 5/5 artifact creature. Huh. Does not look very exciting. None of this does. I still just have the one knight? No, I have 2 of them now. That's right. So this is probably still bad. But it's probably better than anything else we have. I don't think Fortifying Provisions is... Well, okay. Extra... It's an enchantment and an artifact, right? So that's kind of cool. And +0/+1, like, could be sort of helpful, but not very. It's more generically helpful than this thing is, I think. I don't want it. Oh, I already have 1. I don't think I'm going to put 2 in. So let's sideboard this, and then I can pick whichever is better if either of them turns out to be any good at all. Knight of the Keep, Scalding Cauldron. I think just a Scalding Cauldron as like a small artifact that I could play if I had to. Another Gargoyle. A Jousting Dummy. It's a knight. I don't know. I don't want either of them, really. Signposts, Scarecrow. More Fortifying Provisions. Well, now I'm extra glad that I took Shining Armor. Ooh, here's a red. We're not taking it, obviously. Well, I mean, I don't know. I guess we could. Seems unlikely that we would want to splash red in this. When it enters the battlefield, choose target human or artifact an opponent controls. For as long as Opportunistic Dragon remains on the battlefield, gain control of that permanent. It loses all abilities and it can't attack or block. So you kind of like... It's a 4/3 flyer. It's not exactly exile. But it is like a way to neutralize a threat for a bit. Deafening Silence. Each player can't cast more than 1 non-creature spell each turn. Hard to see what the point of that is. It also seems especially bad if you're trying to like play artifacts and enchantments. I assume this is rated pretty badly. What is this? I don't understand what I'm looking at. Yeah, they're rated, like, badly. It's a D... Oh no, it's unplayable. It's in the F category. It's actually the worst rated card in the entire set. So, there's that. I think Tome Raider is probably the best option here. It's a 3 mana 1/1 flyer that draws a card. Fine. Another Unicorn, a flyer. Trapped in the Tower again, or Charmed Sleep are probably both better. So this taps something and it can't untap. Whereas this says it can't attack or block and you can't activate its abilities. The main difference is that like this works on flyers as well. But it lets them use activated abilities if a creature has any such. Well, I guess, yeah, which this doesn't. There probably are not a lot of such creatures, you know, Giant Killer, for example. But Giant Killer's activated ability also needs tapping, as do a lot of abilities, so both of these would work on that, just as an example. It might be nice to diversify. Like, I assume Charmed Sleep is also rated pretty highly. What am I... Oh, I see. Yeah, this is listed as another one of those cards that gets better if you're playing blue-white, of course. And its rating is kind of a B-. So it's about as good, unsurprisingly, as Trapped in the Tower. It's a little bit more flexible, but a little bit more expensive. I'd kind of like to diversify a bit. Oh, I only have 1 Trapped in the Tower. I thought I took a second at some point. Must have been something even better. But anyway, we want one of these. They're enchantments. and their removal. Like, what more could you ask for? I'm just not sure which. How am I for colors? Doing totally fine either way. Skewing sort of heavily towards white, because not only do I have more white cards, I have this double white guy. But he's late enough that I'll probably have no trouble casting him either way. And I have this blue adamant card that is kind of skewing me towards blue, so either way is fine. We're doing totally fine on colors. I shouldn't think about that when choosing these. I should just choose whichever one I think is more useful. I think Charmed Sleep is better as a way to like bring down a flyer that's stopping us from getting in with like the Owl and the Shine Chaser and the Tome Raider and so on. Yeah, let's take that. Frogify, pretty good, I assume, right? We looked at it before, but I forgot already. It's okay, yeah. Inquisitive Puppet, this is a rare. It's an artifact for 1 mana that scries and is a 0/2. And you can remove it to create a 1/1. Okay. Probably not the most exciting card. Oh, another Charmed Sleep, though? Probably better than Frogify, right? Yeah. Oh, and here's the white. Is it like gain life or something? No, it puts counters. Okay. Sadly, though, I think that while it would be... It's kind of like we have a lot of playable cards, and we should be considering at this point, like, how many more good cards are we really going to get? Maybe you should take a land, because you can include that without, like, having to reduce the number of spells you're running. Without it, like... You can replace a land slot with it instead of replacing a spell slot with it. However, I think Charmed Sleep is probably too good to allow me to do that. It's just like I have to look around what I'm getting rid of. Probably Queen of Ice is not that great. Maybe Run Away Together. Maybe the Unicorn? How about these Shepherds? How much, they're good. I want them. Let's stop asking that question. I'll take a Charmed Sleep. Here's a 5 mana 3/4 flyer, which could be okay. Didn't Say Please, a totally fine counterspell, I think. We don't care about the mill. I'm not actually sure I want this. I might just prefer a 5 mana flyer. It's going to be tough to use this like accurately. It's a more flexible card because you can play it on turn 3 if the opponent's trying to aggro you down. But like if they are, you're really sad to be leaving 3 mana untapped and just hoping they play something you want to counter. Really, this is more of like a late game mill win condition that's also a counter. Do we need a late game win condition? And would mill be that win condition? I can't really tell. But like in the late game, being able to counter anything, you know, some bomb the opponent has been like, I don't know. I guess they've been playing it a lot of times or something, like returning it from the graveyard, then this is not so exciting. But, you know, eventually in the late game they'll draw some big card, and this would be nice to counter it. But I don't know. I think I just want another flyer. That's my win condition, so to speak. These scavengers, I'm not so impressed. What were they rated again? We took them pretty early, didn't we? Yeah, they're like a D+, so we could probably just cut this. The effect is not that powerful. The creature is not really important, and you don't want to pay 6 mana for it. Alright, we have some... Well... Wait, are these all commons? I have trouble telling if that's like a black indicator or a white one, but it's the same as this, so I guess it must be black. Artifact Equipment, 1 mana. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, you can move the equipment. So just like a buff that you can move around and it costs 1. Sure. Or we could have a 4-mana flyer that likes you to play lots of blue mana. That seems better. Golden Egg. So it's food, but also you can use it to gain mana of any color. Seems awful for this deck anyway. I think these blue cards are... Wait, what the hell is Hendwalker? It's an adamant that sucks. Here's like a source of... You can distribute 3 counters slowly over all your creatures. Okay. So I think these are the only playable cards. I don't know if I don't know. This is fine. A 4-mana, hopefully 3/3 flyer. We don't have a lot to play on 4, and we want more flyers. This is an artifact, which is nice. We didn't get that much artifact synergy. I guess the Flutter Foxes are the main thing. This would be more exciting if we were playing red-blue, which we're not. And it's like fine, maybe, like +1/+2 is okay, but it's pretty expensive. I'll just take this. Like, rather than pay 3 mana to buff a creature, I'd rather pay 4 mana to get like a new strong creature, right? Oh, I think we take another Flutterfox. Mystic Sanctuary could be a thing. We're up to 3 artifacts and 3 enchantments, which is a little bit low, I think. Maybe it's fine. We can often count on having 1. Or we can take another Vantress Paladin, or we can take this Mystic Sanctuary. But I think we still have very few instants and sorceries, right? Yeah, so we don't want the Sanctuary that badly. I would much rather have the Idyllic Grange, the white one, to put a +1/+1 counter on a flyer. I have 2, 4, 5 proactive 2-drops, which actually seems like a pretty good number. And on 4, I don't have that much. Let's give me this. I don't know, this is like a 2-mana 2/2 flyer, hopefully, right? Which is insane. The downside is, of course, that it's not actually a flyer. This is a 4-mana, hopefully 4/4 flyer, which is pretty good. But the hope is that, like, if you get the Flutterfox early enough, it can just like win you the game by getting in a bit of extra early damage. That means in the late game you can, I don't know. I don't have that many artifacts or enchantments I'm actually playing early. It would be like Charmed Sleep or Shambling Suit, which I'm not that excited to play early. So maybe just take the thing that's guaranteed to be a flyer, and that fixes my curve a bit. Another Shine Chaser. So tiny. It's a combat trick that's also an enchantment. Pretty cool. It prefers you to mill your opponent, though. Here's this Griffin that likes you to draw 2 cards. Yeah, we're clearly taking the Shine Chaser. No second choice. Run away together. Oh, the Idyllic Grange is clearly better than any of these, I think. Just putting counters on creatures is cool, and it doesn't eat up a slot. Look at that. Nobody picked Deafening Silence from this pack. What a surprise. Don't really want any of this. Could I imagine playing any of them? Not really. So just choose arbitrarily. We could take another Unicorn, but I have like 5 mana plays already. Remind me how many adventure things I have? 1. Oh, actually, there should be a tag, right? No? Okay. 2. And then the Unicorn. So, and of course these 2, but I didn't count them because they're like playing... Well, actually, if you have 2 of them, you can kind of recurse them indefinitely on each other, which is not exciting, right? You return a Shepherd to your hand, and now you have a Shepherd in your hand. Oh, wow, amazing. But you kind of already had one, so how exciting is it really? This would be more about like a react. Okay, I mean, I don't know. I could cut these guys, but they're fine as 2 mana 3/1s with some upside. Mostly it's about like these are not really about reactivating adventures, they're about dodging enchantments. Oh my god, we've got an hour in the draft already. This is what happens when you go back to a new set, but that's fine. I'll take a unicorn, and to do that I would have to like cut something, wouldn't I? Well, is the unicorn the worst creature in my deck? If it's not, I should be willing to cut something else. How am I doing for artifacts and enchantments? Still have 6, so cutting this is not looking that great. I don't know, let's draft this and figure it out later. Another Grange, okay. Running 2 of them is a bit much. I don't know, I already have plenty of everything, right? It doesn't really matter. Weapon Rack's an artifact. Maybe I could consider playing it. Okay, another cabin. So, what's the worst card in this deck? It's probably not Corridor Monitor, just because it's an artifact. It's probably not Shambling Suit, but it might be. I'm kind of leaning towards the idea that it's the Queen of Ice. She's a blocker that will help you deal with aggro, and she can also help you get in a bit of damage by tapping their blocker as a sorcery. But ultimately, none of that really works too much with what I'm doing. You could maybe say this guy is not so great because he's not a flyer, but he's first strike 4/4, which can be really deter some aggressive decks. And if you're in a winning position, he can help convert it to a super winning position by giving your flyers +1/+1 when he attacks. So I think we cut the Queen of Ice. I think she's just not very good. And we might question whether we should run Idyllic Grange or not. The good news, though, by the way, is that these are also planes, so if you like have to play one of them face down and then you play 2 other planes, the second one will activate. I think it's fine. Yeah. I mean, you wouldn't want to play 3, probably. But I think 2 is okay. Alright, let's get a game in, and I'm not going to try to do the whole run in one video like I was doing once I got familiar with, Oh, no. We're a Shine Chaser deck. I'm not going to try to get the whole run into one video like I was once I started getting familiar with the set. We'll just get one sample game in, and then in the next video, we will hopefully complete the draft. Hi, Bobby. You want to be friends? We're both blue Mystic Hands guy. All right, this looks fine. I have 4 mana, a 2, a 3, and a 5. I kind of wish it were more white mana. Both because I have this double white guy and because it would make my Idyllic Granges in the future better. Ooh, Fabled Passage. Cool. So search for land of any color, opponent chooses black. You could say, oh, let's hang on to this so we can activate the instant part, or the adventure part, but no, we just want a tempo out here. Oh, we could return a land to my hand. Amazing. No thanks. Just like try to get some damage in or deal with whatever shit they play. Nothing, so we get some damage. Nice. I don't know, they could flash or instant some removal, but in black-green that seems unlikely. I think we'll probably create a knight here. I don't need to draw a card just yet. Well, yeah, I don't. you're making me discard a card. You pick the big white guy, I guess. Actually, maybe not. You can tell I can't cast it yet. That's a tough choice. Okay, get rid of my draw. Oh, that's right. And you also kill my adventure thing. Ah, joke's on you. I drew a plains. Okay, I think this game's going pretty well for me. But opponent has a lot of cards, obviously. Their Witch's Cottage is not working, which is very nice. What does it do, by the way? You can put target creature card from your graveyard onto your library. Okay, and what is this? A 2/2 that likes you to play adventure cards. Doesn't seem like a great card for you to have, but alright. Oh, right, this is a slow plains. That's fine, though. I can play this, and next turn I'll have this. I would prefer to maybe to play it this turn, but I can use my unicorn up now. Block, I assume, the 3/1? Yep. Fine. You gonna get rid of this too? I would really be sad if you looked at my hand and took this away. This is my exciting card. Creatures of the creature type of your choice. Knights. Get -3/-3. I see. So it wasn't going to work on this guy. And this one isn't a knight. That's why he was looking at it to see if that mattered. Okay, well, we're going to put a plains down so that if we happen to draw an idyllic range, it'll be active. Okay. Well, opponent has kind of, I don't know about stabilized, but neutralized my threats. Except I have like one more pretty big threat. Okay, it's a 2/3. That is not big enough to deal with this, so we can keep getting damage in. This is not really how the deck is supposed to work, but, you know, I'll take it. Just gonna sack it. Okay. Now I have two 4/4s. This one looks like a 3/3, but when it attacks, it's a 4/4 because of this guy. Hopefully no more removal. This guy's done pretty well at killing my shit. Okay, you gave it -5/-5. That's pretty good for you. I'm not sure whether I should play this island or, like, hold on to it. I might want the mana, probably. I don't know. Would I? No. Let's hang on to it. We'll bluff something. I don't know. If opponent makes me discard it, I'll be a little annoyed, but I'll probably be happy, in fact, that they spent their make the opponent discard thing. And now they kind of have to live in fear of me having some combat trick or who knows what. I don't know. Maybe it's crazy, but I feel like if you have like a land and way more mana than you need, you should usually hang on to at least one land in hand. Oh, yeah. You spent 3 black for it, right? Yeah. Cool. What the hell is this? Okay, so at some point I could return this guy to go on the adventure again if I wanted. I don't want to do that now, and I don't really want a 3/1 now. I want to save this until opponent, like, enchants it to make me sad or something. Oh, or tries to remove it. Yeah. This is my way to dodge removal of various sorts. And opponent's tapped out, so I don't have to worry about anything happening here. This is a 3 mana card, and right now I have 7 mana, so... But even if I draw something that costs 4 or 5. I can still play the island, right? Yeah. So, no sense playing it just yet. But this idyllic Grange, by the way, was awful. It was a much worse Plains instead of being a better one. It's blue, or sorry, yeah, so it's now a 3-3, okay, yeah, sure, yeah, I will resolve it. So it can trade for this guy if you want. That's not very nice. Guess I should have played this, huh? As a 3-1, but I don't think that was the right thing to do. And they're spending a 3-mana card and not getting much out of it. I'm okay with this. I could have returned this to hand, right? But then they would have just discarded it. It would be a very, very bad outcome for me. Now that they know this is an island, I'll just play it. And I don't need to swing with my 3-3 just to kill their 3-3. That's a trade that can happen whenever. Sadly, though, they can tap this forever if they want. So I don't actually have a way to kill you right now. Yeah, actually, now that I think about it, once I saw the spinning wheel, I should have played my 3-1 because I might need. No, I'd still only have 2 creatures. What? Also, what? You should be spinning me to, like, forever. This was a terrible play. You know, it's a 5-mana tax that you have to pay, but it, like, keeps you alive. I think that's probably better than playing some equipment that doesn't do anything. Okay, well, we won our first game. That's gonna have to do it for the first video. Hopefully it takes 2 more videos to make it through the entire draft, if we're lucky. At any rate, hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.